So I'm going to ask you a question that I might know the answer, but I just think it's important to kind of ask this because a lot of people that are listening to this may not understand this. But when you work around the world, as you do, that's primarily your job is to work in every country, potentially. How do you manage the language barriers and the differences between languages? And maybe not only languages, but cultural differences.
So the cultural aspect is more important than the language. I mean, English is a universal language. It is the business language across the globe. And different regions and countries have a better grasp than others. The most important thing in entering into a country is not just about the legalities, but it's making sure from a cultural standpoint that you're following the cultural norms, especially when you are in areas that can be dramatically different from your home country. For example, there was a wonderful story when I speak with university students. I always end with a story, and it's typically the same story, and it is exactly this. And this is a true story. There was a lumber company out of Oregon that had just closed a deal with a company in Japan. So the sales guy flies out to Japan, and his only job was to get the purchase order and come back. So he gets in and he sits down, and here he's one person, and across the table are several Japanese colleagues, and they're very proud with their business cards, and they present it in a way, and it's an extension of them. And there is a norm and a custom of setting them out and treating their business cards with the same respect that you would treat them. And they're a very proud country and wonderful, wonderful culture. So the guy was a bit cocky, and he typically kind of sits back in his chair and gets very quite comfortable. And then he starts playing with one of the business cards, and he's talking to somebody. And you can tell that the person is getting a little bit agitated. And then, wait for it, he picks it up and he starts picking his teeth with, and the guy was so angry that he actually took the purchase order back and excused him for the meeting, and the guy went back and lost the deal.
Because you're right, because in the Japan culture, that's a very not acceptable process.
No. So again, it's
that's very good, important.
And and then a lot of listeners might think, well, how am I supposed to know that? Well, what I typically do is read up a little bit. Good. Food culture is very important, also for me as well. So that's typically a big thing. Alcohol. Is it accepted? Is it not? If you're in the Middle East, in a lot of countries, it is not. And it's also the do's and the don'ts, and keep it at a very pragmatic level, and just take your time. You enter in, you see what everyone else is doing. Most important is what people are not doing, how they dress, how they walk, how they present themselves. For example, I was in Japan recently with my family for a small vacation with my kids. And we were staying at a couple of very nice hotels, and they had pools. I have small kids. And one of the things that was important to the guests was they would ask whether or not I had tattoos. I said, well, I don't, but thank you. They said, well, if you do, please cover it. So again, just the small things.
Little things.